it. So let me introduce myself. And Ava, next slide, please. I'm Janelle Clothier. I'm the Executive Director for Undergraduate Education here at American University. I have 18 years of experience at American, but over 25 in higher ed. And I have worked at 4 different institutions, started my career in human resources, worked in an international student and scholar services office. I was an academic advisor for honors, undecided, pre-med, and business students at different institutions. And then most recently here at American University, I was the senior director of AU Central, which is our one-stop shop for students. They are doing a session later on this afternoon or this evening. And I've only been in this job for less than a month. So you guys might have some questions that are going to stump me, but I'm going to do my best to sort of give you some helpful information as you're onboarding to American University. So let's go to the next slide and I'll give you a sense of what we're doing. As the introduction said, we're supposed to be here for about 55 minutes. I hopefully will not be talking that long. We'll give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions in the chat or any of the ones that I don't get to. Our support from the new student and family programs team will let me know what I'm missing out in the chat. But the things we're going to talk about are what you should be doing right now. Then I'm going to give you just 5 tips and some advice, and then we're going to go to some questions. So let's get going. So what should you guys be doing now? Celebrating. I'm guessing all of you have finished high school. You have that in the book. So we want you to, of course, celebrate, take a deep breath. We are going to be here all summer, and we look forward to seeing you in August, but we just mostly want you to relax and enjoy your summer. There are a lot of tasks that you're going to need to be doing over the next several weeks, but we are going to try to give you some space to just take a breath and celebrate your success so far. Just a couple things to point out that are kind of important at this point. So if you haven't submitted your final high school transcripts, we do request that you do that. They need to be submitted to our admissions office. It's important so we can make sure that get you onboarded accordingly. Again, if you have any standardized test scores, AB or IB, that you're going to be sharing with us, we know that the scores don't come out until July, but we just want to put that reminder out there. The one that my student never did and missed a lot of information is checking your AU email. We know there's a lot that's coming in there, and a lot of it right now might not be important. And we are trying to send you what we really think you should have your eyes on at this point. So it's really important to check your AU email. It's going to be your official means of communication with us. We rarely are going to text you, which I think you're probably going to be pretty happy about. But it's really important to make sure you check that email. Even if you have put in a preferred email in your New Eagle questionnaire or elsewhere, it's still going to be important to check that AU email. Confirm your move-in date. My understanding is that the housing portal has been updated and move-in times have been released. So you might want to take a look at that as well to find out when you register, and that is through the housing portal, which you will find if you go back to your AU email, information about your move-in date. By now, all of you should have received your course registration recommendation email from your academic advisor, and we hope that you've registered for 12 to 17 credits. Some of you may be on wait list, and I can talk about that a little bit when we get into this, about what that means, but 12 is full-time, but depending on your major and what your advisor has recommended, there could be some students that are up to 17. So we want to make sure you do that. And if you're not checking the new student checklist, we want to make sure that you're looking at that. It sort of tees up each month things that are important and going on at that point. So the things that I think that are probably part of that right now are reviewing tuition refund insurance. You or your families may hear more about this later in the AU Central presentation, but there's an opportunity for you. Just if you were buying a house, you have insurance, you have a car, you have insurance, and your education here is a pretty big investment. So there's an opportunity for your family to consider whether or not tuition refund insurance is a good choice for you. Submitting your photo for your one card is going to be really, really important. And so you want to make sure you look at the instructions that is on the new student checklist. The one card is going to be your access to your residence hall. It's going to be what gets you into the dining hall and other eating establishments. It's going to have information. It's going to have dining dollars or Eagle Bucks. So we really want you to get that photo in. So when you come here for orientation in August and move in, your card is ready and prepared for you to pick it up. So those are the big ones for right now. And next slide, please. So some of the things are going to be coming up for you. And you may have seen these on your student checklist, but the Student Health Center also has their own portal, and they are going to want you to submit your immunization records, and then they also request a separate tuberculosis form that they need you to complete as well. So those are going to be important. We really like you to have those into us before you arrive. It's a DC requirement that you're immunized, and we've looked over that. So we want you to make sure that that gets done. The student health insurance requirement, Jean Logan in the AU Central is going to talk about this as well, but American University does require our students to have a comprehensive healthcare plan that provides services in the District of Columbia. So if you have your own insurance and it's a comprehensive national plan, you can submit information and we will take that charge off your bill. But if the insurance doesn't meet our requirements, you will be assessed. It's about $2,000. So it's something you want to make sure you talk with your parents and families about submitting your insurance card so we can get a good review of that. Your student account is kind of fluctuating right now. The first thing that will generate a bill for you every semester is registration for courses. So once you register, that's going to put on your sports center fee, your student activity fee, technology fee, your housing, and your dining. So those charges right now are all being put together. So you want to make sure that you go in and take a look at your bill. If there are concerns about your financial aid or any things of that nature, you're always free to start an email to AU Central and they can help you out with that. But your bill will be ready on August 1st. It should be finalized by then. The writer as witness, I'm not sure if students are familiar with this, but we read a common text the summer before your first year here, and your college writing class will use that book as a text for the class, and then the author usually comes to campus and we sort of celebrate their work. The book has just been announced. It's in the new student checklist. So that's a good thing you could be working on while you're relaxing and breathing this summer. And then as you get registered, you have an opportunity to go on the bookstore website and take a look at what books your professors are going to be requiring or recommending for your classes. All right. And so the question is there a best path to success at AU? And, some of you may have heard the expression, it's not the journey, it's the destination. Well, I sort of think it's a bit of both here. There really isn't a best path. You. I always like to think about a university as a place you're going to find what you're looking for. And we have great resources to support you. So there's no best path. Your path is going to be your path. So now I'm going to fill you in on my tips and advice. This is based on my years of experience, but I also have 4 nieces and 1 nephew who all have recently graduated from college in the last 4 or 5 years. And when all of them went away to school, their aunt that works in higher ed would send them a letter with my tips and advice for what I would recommend as a student at a new university. So I'm going to share my family secrets with you. So here's tip number 1. Is to find a person on campus that you connect with. You are going to have great opportunities to meet your professors. They are going to have office hours, and my husband is a former professor. He would have office hours and students wouldn't show up. It's a great opportunity to go in and meet your professors. Ask them about their research, how they got into higher ed. Your person could become one of your professors, not even necessarily in your major. You have an academic advisor that's been assigned to you and will be teaching your AUX 1 class. They are a great resource for you to get to know somebody on campus. If you see somebody on this webinar and you think, oh, I like that person, I guarantee you, if you email them, they are going to email you back. So I just want you to, as you're navigating all of this, look for a person just to be an advocate for you. If you don't know where to go, if you have a question, um, we all work in higher ed. We love American University. We want you to be successful, so we want to be there to help you, which is going to lead to one of my other questions later. But no, tip 2. Okay, great. So appreciate what worked for you in high school and be open to what can work for you at AU. They may not be the same things. Learning to be a successful high school student is one thing, and it's going to be completely different here, I can guarantee you. And so be open to learning new ways to organize yourself, to plan your schedule, to do all those things. So we want you to build on what you did in high school, but know that there are going to be other ways that you're going to be a successful college student. And so just be ready for that. My tip number 3 is expect unintended turns and curves, because this is normal. One of those unexpected turns that I think that maybe some of you felt or experienced was this wait list thing. Like, oh my gosh, there's a wait list for this class. Am I going to get in? And, those are going to be great conversations to have with your academic advisor, but you're going to be okay. My son has changed in his first year at American University, his major 3 times already. He is going through these twists and turns. He thought he wanted to do something. He took a class and it wasn't for him. So be prepared for that. And it's okay. It's absolutely normal. My tip number 4 is, this is my dog Thunder, and she loves her baby pool. But my advice here is jump in, but not too deep, not yet. I will tell you, AU students, and any of the students that are on the call, they are super involved. They want to jump in and do everything all at once, just like you did in high school. I want to do every club. I want to do this. And so there are going to be opportunities your entire 4 years that you're here to jump in and do everything. So absolutely take advantage of the student activities fair that is going to happen early in the week. When you're here for orientation, there's going to be a resource fair with lots of opportunities. You don't have to do everything at once, but we definitely want you to try to find, an opportunity, a club, a group, or something that's interesting to you. My son, his first couple days here, he was out on the quad, and there were a bunch of games out on the quad that some had been set up. There was spike ball, and people had frisbees, and somebody came up to him and said, "Oh, you seem like you can throw the frisbee really well. Do you want to play ultimate with us?" And he'd never played it before in his life, and hung out with those students for a while. It was just something new to try. It didn't stick, but there are going to be so many things. I just want you to don't feel the pressure that you have to do everything immediately. And then my tip number 5 is ask us when you need help. We don't want you just putting, a little message in a bottle and we're not knowing what's going on. We do have, some supports in place, like having you meet with your AUX advisor for your class and seeing them once a week, but we're not going to know. And so it's always better to ask for help sooner rather than later. So I would encourage you to do that. So let's talk about some of the resources and support that are available to you here on campus. So academic support. We have an amazing office on campus that provides academic coaching. So if you get here in the fall and you've got 5 course syllabi, and some classes meet this day, some meet this day, and you're trying to figure out how am I going to plan this out, they will sit down with you and help you plan your schedule. They have peer advisors. If you'd rather talk to a student, there's peer advising. For courses that we know are challenging for students, we have built-in tutors that are available to you at any time. My son took statistics this semester, and there were tutors available whenever he needed them. These are all free services for every student. So please take a look at the Academic Support and Access Center's website, so you can become familiar with them. They have great availability for appointments. They will do virtual, they will do in person, but they are a top-notch team, and they're there to help support you. As I said before, your academic advisor is a great resource. Our Dean of Students office, the Office of Financial Aid, AU Central, and your faculty members, and our counseling center. So there's a lot of support here to help you navigate this next part of your life. And then this is one of my last slides, so I got through this stuff pretty fast. I have one more, I think, Ava. So again, these were the things that we were talking about with the academic support, the academic coaching, there's the peer students. We have a writing center, so if you want to go in and have somebody read a first draft of your paper, same thing with the math and statistics lab. And then the supplemental instruction, as I noted, that is the, if it's a statistics course, they have additional tutoring as alongside your regular class and your professor's office hours. So those were my 5 tips. So I guess I'm going to go to our new student and family program people, because I did get through this pretty fast, to see, were there any questions that I could help answer?
There's a lot of questions in the chat, but if you'd like, I can just read some of them out that haven't been answered yet. And then you can answer them. Trying to pick some good ones. Oh, how does one determine if we need to do a placement test for math?
So that is going to depend on your major. So if you still have questions about whether or not, typically if you're going to be pursuing something business, STEM related, probably you will need to take the math placement test, but that's a great question to ask your first year advisor, based on your major.
Where can I see results from the math placement exam?
Oh, that's a good question. I would at this point, to be honest with you, I don't know. Again, I've been doing my job for less than a month. Ava, did you take it? Do you remember?
I think they were just emailed. It's been a
Okay.
while because I'm about to be a senior. But I'm like 99% sure they just came from emailed. And people in the chat are saying emailed. So thank you, people.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
How can I see where my AP dual enrollment credit is being accounted for?
So there's probably, I would believe, on our registrar's page, the Office of the University Registrar, they typically have transfer articulation. So if you took dual enrollment classes in high school, there would be an equivalent course. I'm going to say that they probably have the same articulations for, depending on what your scores were for your AP and IB. But again, if you don't, if it's not where I think it is, again, that's a good question for your academic advisor to say, where's this going to fit in my degree plan?
I don't want to just keep like reading questions if people have already answered them. So if you guys also can raise your hand on Zoom, and then John can see who has a question, but I can also just keep reading them while we wait for people to do that. I just want to make sure we're prioritizing like any pressing questions.
I see Estrella Martin. Did I
Yeah.
pronounce it correctly?
Yeah, it's Estrella.
Estrella, sorry.
No, don't worry about it at all. My question is that my school hasn't sent in my final transcript, and I know it's due in a few days, but I'm not entirely confident that it will be sent on time because I'm having issues with communicating with them. So is there like is it a hard deadline or a soft deadline? Like how
It's a
can I?
soft deadline. We really want you to, we sort of feel like if you're still You just recently graduated, you might still be a little bit connected with your school, so it's probably better to try to do it by the end of the month and not lose sight of it, but it's not a hard deadline. There aren't going to be any severe repercussions if we get it in, the middle of July. You'll be fine.
All right, thank you so much.
Audrey.
Hi, yes. For the writer as witness book, is that also required for writing 101 or is it just the 100 class?
It's most of our introductory writing classes for our first year students use that as a text. So you're advised to grab a copy and read it this summer. I don't know if I'll go to Alexander.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
I applied for the waiver for my insurance, and so every time I log on to my account to see what happened, it said I've been denied. But someone in the chat told me they received the email on why they've been denied, and I haven't received that email. So I was wondering who would I ask for something like this?
I would recommend sending an email to AU Central. It's aucentral@american.edu, all lowercase. And they can they'll tell you why. Okay. I think Jocelyn was next.
Hi, I did have a question about required textbooks. Where can we find in our student checklist what textbooks we need?
So if you go to the university bookstore, and I've had my son do this before, and I've watched him do it. I believe you put in identifying information about you, and then it pulls up your schedule, and then it will give you the list of the textbooks.
Okay, thank you.
It's kind of early right now because some professors are still working on their syllabus, so don't be surprised if there aren't a lot of books. And the other thing is, I don't know about you, Eva, but my son
I was just gonna jump in
go ahead.
and say, like, I really recommend just wait like at least until like the week before school starts, and even like when you're already in class. A lot of times professors will like be required by their department to put a textbook, but they'll like be able to provide a free copy or just like selected readings, or maybe they don't even use it at all, and it's just not worth wasting your money on something you might not need. So definitely wait, or if you're like really want to be on top of it, you can email your professor once you figure out who they are.
Yeah, very good advice. Is it Eva Joy, Wiva Joy?
Yep, Eva Joy. That was it. You got it. All right. Good afternoon. So I had kind of like two similar questions to something that was already kind of talked about. So for the summer reading, is that required if you are in the 106 class and have technically already fulfilled one freshman writing class with your AP credit?
That's a good question. To be honest with you, my understanding is that the first year students all read it. But again, you can check the bookstore website to see if it's required.
Okay, and then also on the insurance.
What did you say, Eva?
It's for either writing class, no matter what. It's like a first year wide program, no matter what writing class you're enrolled in.
Oh, okay. And then for the insurance, if on the portal it says that the status of my waiver is verified, does that mean that it was accepted and they are going to waive the charge?
My understanding is that they have it and it hasn't been determined yet, but I would, again, you can email AU Central. I know my student received a separate email saying his was waived. So I would, you might want to reach out to AU Central and double check with them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I think Isaiah was next.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Okay, so my question was about the moving in process. So how exactly does that work? We were told that between what's it called? On the okay, how do I say it? On the housing portal, there's like this like column, right? Yeah, verticals column thing, and it was either add or minus 20 minutes to move in. Was that that means we can arrive either 20 minutes early to 20 minutes late, or is that like a 40-minute window we have based on our thing?
So it's pretty flexible. I mean, I think it's more the 20 minutes before, 20 minutes after, but if you get stuck in traffic, we're not going to say, no, you can't move in. So I would say arrive around that time, if you can. But if there are issues, you can certainly reach out to the housing department. But I have to tell you, move in here is really great. Um, for our first year students, we actually hire movers, and you all will pull up, and your car will be surrounded by probably 4 people. They will unload your car. They will move all your stuff up to your room, and then while they're doing that, you will go over, pick up your student ID or your one card. You'll pick up your Metro card to ride the Metro. Um, and then you'll go to your room and all your stuff will be there. And you just have to unpack, which is amazing. So do enjoy it because it's really hot here in August.
Okay. Do you mind if I ask one more question, or do you want to keep going
Yeah,
through
no,
the
no, go
questions?
ahead.
Okay. So I'm a pre-law student, and I don't know, in high school I just did everything, and not doing things is weird for me. So like how you said not that deep, but like how deep is not that deep? Because I want like at least two things besides classes on
Yeah,
my
yeah,
board.
Would
yeah,
I
yeah.
be
No,
able
I
to
mean,
jump in and answer this question?
yeah, answer it, please.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think as a student, I think most of the clubs that you would be joining on campus, like your first year, know not to like overload freshmen with like tasks for clubs, or most of them aren't even like super involvement based. It's just like go when you want to. So I would say try a little bit of everything, and pick what you want and do as much as you want to do. And then you'll know if it's too much. You'll like start feeling burnt out. Like you'll be staying up super, super late doing your homework. Like you'll be able to tell before it's too late. But I would definitely take advantage of those first couple months and try like everything that you can, because you don't know exactly what you're gonna like, especially if you're saying that you did everything in high school and liked everything, then definitely try like as much as you can.
Okay. Thank you so much. That was it.
All right, it looks like Electra, you're next.
Hi, yes, thank you. I had a question about my classes. So I'm going in a history major, but when trying to like get all of my basic qualifications for my class in the fall, I wasn't able to sign up for a history course as well because I ended up getting waitlisted from the time I wanted. So is it okay that I'm going into my first semester without taking a class oriented towards my major?
I would say absolutely. I mean, it happens, and there are so many other things that you could be taking. And typically, your first 2 years is going to be taking maybe, a handful of classes in your major, but you'll be taking your habits of mind, you'll be taking writing, you'll be taking a math class. Um, so you sort of think about it that your first 2 years are some of the more general courses, and then you start to be more specific your junior and senior year with your major courses. So it's perfectly okay.
I also had one more question. I'm sorry. I also wasn't able to sign up for a math class because I just didn't like how it was fitting into my schedule. Is that okay for my first semester as well? Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. uh,
Thank
uh,
you.
yeah, Desiree.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, my computer's not the best. I just wanted to know if I needed to complete the tuberculosis form, if I did the questionnaire and I answered no to everything. And I think it said like, oh, if we need something from you, we'll tell you, but they didn't tell me anything afterwards. So do I need to complete that form?
By doing that, you're good.
Okay, God bless. Thank you.
Yep. Brody.
Hi. I've been like really busy the past few weeks. So I really haven't had a lot of time to look. I've really honestly only started looking at my email like a few days ago. I've just been, keeping up with most of this stuff, but the class registration thing still has me kind of confused. Can you tell us a little bit more about like how to register for classes and a little bit more about the wait list aspect for some of the classes?
Sure, that's a great question.
Thank
And
you.
then I might let Eva come in too and add some perspective. But they're actually, so we use this, our system's called Eagle Service. And within that, there's a module called student planning. And so we have a webinar that your first year advisor should have sent you, how you can watch to figure out how to navigate Eagle Service. But essentially you're gonna go in, you're gonna pick fall semester. There's a search bar in the top right where you can search for specific courses. There's an opportunity if you want to sort by classes that are open, if you're looking for one of your habits of mind or a complex problems class or whatever kind of classes you're looking for, you can filter and pull up those courses. And then you can plan out your schedule and see which classes fit where. And then there's a button at the top that says register. So the first thing I would do is, make sure you have that letter from your academic advisor with the recommended courses. And then if you haven't had a chance to watch the Eagle Service module, or training module, the registration module, I would do that. With waitlist, they tend to move around and, the university's looking at courses where there's high demand. Can we open another section? Or knowing that students, there's going to be a lot of movement when students get their AP and IB courses. Students are going to drop things and things are going to open up. So with the wait list, if you get on it, the important thing you need to know is that if you move into a position where you're coming off the wait list, they will send you an email. So again, this is reason why it's important to keep checking your email, because they run the wait list every night. And so if a spot opens up, they're going to tell you the next morning and they'll give you a certain period of time, it's several hours to register. I think it might even be 24. And if you don't, then it goes to the next person on the wait list. Eva, was there anything you wanted to add? Yeah.
I would just quickly add on that if you need specific help navigating Eagle Service or just have questions about what to register, all of the orientation chairs, so myself and the other current students who are on this webinar, are hosting Eagle Service drop-in hours. All of the information is on the orientation Canvas site and also in the email newsletter that you've been getting. And we run them every day except for Monday and Saturday. So, and like we have multiple shifts per day to accommodate for different time zones. I also put my email in the chat for like in case when we're getting to the end of the session, if there's a question that you have that hasn't been answered yet and you want a perspective from a current student, definitely email me. I'm more than happy to help.
That note, I was just going to time in. We have about 10 minutes left in this session. So I know there's a lot of hands raised and we're definitely going to try to get to all those questions. But if you can also drop them in the chat, just in case we don't, that way we can follow up with you all afterwards.
Okay. And I'll go to, is it Nadiri?
It's Nadir.
Nadir, sorry.
You're good. So I just wanted to ask you a question. So my award letter when I got admitted said like I think it had some money and it said like on some like a portion of the money said books. So I wanted to know if that like goes towards like does that go towards like paying for books that like I'm trying to explain it.
I
So
think
there's
I understand what you're saying.
yeah.
That's like if it's not outlined in like the first section of tuition, so like where it says books and UPass, and all of that, that's just showing you like how much of your money is like you should expect to save to buy books. AU won't buy books for you.
Okay.
Yeah, it might be our cost of attendance, so it breaks it down, how much it costs to live here and travel and that kind of thing.
Okay. And then I had another question about like so is there pre-law advisors that can help with helping you get on the right track, like to apply to law school and like do the LSAT and like is Is there like a lot of like is there a lot of pre-law advisors for that?
So I am not sure if we have, I know we have a pre-med, and my guess is that we do have a pre-law as well.
I'm not sure off the top of my head either because I'm not pre-law, but no matter what, like questions of that sort, you can direct to your academic advisor, and they will definitely be able to help you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And is it Rafe? Oh, moved.
Oh, you got it. Can you hear me?
Yep.
I have a kind of hyper specific question on the TB test. So I did the TB test, answered no on everything but the question, have you worked in a long-term care facility? And I have. And then they sent me an email saying, oh, you need to do a TB like actual test.
Okay.
Do you know if AU cares if it's a skin test, or like do I have to get blood work done, or do they care? Do you know?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I would follow up with the student health center. I can't imagine. I know that some students just wait and they get it done when they're here. So I don't know if that helped. I don't know if that helps or confuses the issue, but I would follow up with the student health center.
All right, thank you.
Sorry. Eden.
Yes, hi. I have a question about people moving from out of state. So I'm from Los Angeles, so obviously my move is definitely going to be very big. When are we, I know there's like a UPS store somewhere where we can ship things so we don't necessarily have to ship it like to a roommate's house or something. When are we able to do that? Do you know when that opens?
Ava, do you know?
The UPS store. Sorry, I was answering a question in the chat.
Oh, sorry, about when students can mail stuff to the UPS store if they're shipping their belongings from out of state.
I don't know the specific answer off the top of my head, but on the AU website, if you just search UPS store, and you get to like their specific page, you can either find a person to email, or a lot of students are also like dealing with that. So I'm sure they have it highlighted somewhere on the main page. I just don't know the date off the top of my head. It's usually somewhere like early August though.
Yeah, they moved the 18-wheelers really close to campus, and they're filled with all the stuff that they've received and that they've shipped all summer. All right, let's see, how much time do we have? I think we can try to get through the last couple questions. I see Rylan.
Hi. Yeah, so this might be a really stupid question. I was just a little confused, so I wanted to ask. Are the Habits of Mind courses required? Because I know that the like AU core classes are required, but are Habits of Mind specifically required?
Yeah, so like Habits of Mind, other schools might call it their core curriculum or their general education requirements. So AU calls them Habits of Mind. So they are required. There's some really interesting, good ones. So you will need to take, I think there's what, 5 of them, 5 or 6 different areas over your next 4 years.
They're really fun also. Like, they're really cool, like different types of classes that a lot of them are hyper specific. So I recommend also trying to like evenly space them out. If you know your major, or if you don't know your major yet, then like take a bunch of them in the beginning and try different ones to see like maybe you'll like something.
Thank you.
I love that advice. All right, and we have one question left from Eileen.
It's I actually used my mom's name. I don't know why. I'm on her laptop, um so it's required to take a writing class, and for some reason I didn't get into a writing class. So I'm kind of like lost on what to do because it says it's, required, and I'm waitlisted for one, but if I don't get it, like what do I do?
You can take it in the spring.
Take it like I can take it second semester.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and then other quick question. If my work that I'm currently doing is directly related to the field that I'm studying, is there a way to incorporate like my work into like getting credits some way or anything like that?
Yeah, probably your best bet, and I'll let Ava talk if in a second. I mean, probably there may be an opportunity for an internship later. maybe an independent study later, but
No, like I own my own fintech company, so is there a way I could integrate that into my schedule or not?
I actually am a computer science major. So I know at least for our department, you can like contact the department chair for like an independent study, or for any other students who have like a similar question, but you don't own your own company, like internships and stuff like that. You can also get credit for, but they don't let you do it freshman year. I think you have to wait until you're a junior.
Thank you.
Should we take one more from Audrey, and then we probably will get kicked back to the main meeting room?
Oh yeah, sorry, quick question about the habit of mind requirements. If I'm transferring, that count like to satisfy those requirements?
You cut out, Audrey, but I would say your best bet is to have a conversation with your academic advisor about how your transfer credit is counting towards your degree requirements.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Christopher, how are we doing?
Any other hands raised? I know there's a few still in the chat that we're working through, but we are also going to save this chat, you all. So if there are questions that we were not able to respond to, we will follow up with you via email. So
question, just one more, part B. So when you get waitlisted, like on like the when you're planning your degree and scheduling your courses, but it says when you try like registering and then it says to like arrange a meeting. I'm kind of confused how that works.
So I didn't understand. So you said I didn't understand your question. I'm sorry, Derek.
Sorry. Yeah, I got waitlisted for one of my classes on my schedule, and it said, and I forget what the message usually says, but
Are you trying to see your position on the wait list?
more. I just remember seeing something once that said I had to have a meeting with the advisor or the I'm not sure.
Okay. So maybe, Derek, a good thing might be to jump on one of the Eagle service drop-in hours that Ava asked you about. They probably could answer your question there. And if it is something with an advisor, you'd want to definitely circle back with your academic advisor. There was, I think some students had problems registering. They thought they had to meet with their advisor, and there was an advising restriction on their accounts, but those should have all been lifted and you should be eligible to register. So I'm not.
Yeah, it's just because it's the only class that's still in the red on my schedule. Everything else is green otherwise.
Sorry, are you
Alright.
talking about the red bar like at the top of the page that like you need to meet with your advisor to approve or whatever?
Yeah.
Because
The
I
one that's
asked my
around.
advisor about that and she said as long as did you ever have a meeting with her or email with them?
Well, I did email, I did do a back and forth email once on about waitlisting. So suppose yeah.
All right. Well, Derek, I'm writing down your name. I will check in with your advisor tomorrow and have somebody reach out to you, okay?
All right.
Okay.
All right, so I know that they're about to kick us out, so here it comes. If you have any more questions that weren't answered, please send us an email and we will follow up with you all.
And thank you, everybody, for letting me be your test case. We'll see you in August.
Thank you, everyone.